but anything we have to replace is permanently, all right? And that goes through the county or the city of Vineland. I don't know, Bridgeton's county, I think. I don't think they have their own health department.
Yes.
Whoever if there's a city that has their own health department, then it goes through that city's health department. All right? So, here's what happens when you end up pooping with a septic system. All right? It goes through the sewer and goes into the septic tank. This is the septic tank. Okay? End count. This is the side view. Okay? So what happens is this is the outgoing port, this is the incoming port. Okay? It works on the overflow method. Okay? So you're always going to be full at this point. Okay? Because in order to get out that line, it's got to fill up and overflow out that line. Okay? So what happens is whenever you flush, it turns in here. Okay? You've got that line that let's say is about here. Okay? And this is all liquid, or all, not necessarily liquid, but you know. And what you have is three baffles. Okay? So when you flush down here, it churns up in here. Okay? And it ends up settling out or floating, one or the other, depending what the material is. Okay? Down here, you have sludge. Okay, up here, you have scum. Okay? Septic does biodegrade, but it never does 100%. That's the reason why people should pump their septics. I tell them every 2 to 3 years. Okay? Because there's a certain amount of stuff that just is not going to biodegrade. Now what happens is you get a layer of sludge down here, and you get a layer of scum up here, okay? And this is liquid water, and these baffles actually come down below that, okay? In the cement tank, these are cement baffles. So if you look at it from the side, these baffles come down like this here, okay? Solid cement. So it gives you 3 different ports, all right? So this here liquid that's in between, okay, and again, I'll draw it here, I think it's easier to see. If you have scum here, okay, which this one you shouldn't have much scum by the time it gets to that 3rd port. And if you have sludge here, okay, this is liquid. That's what you want going out your exterior to whatever it's going to. That should be always liquid. You don't want solids because it's going to stop up our field bed, our seepage pit, or our infiltrators. So that's the whole idea. When this scum starts building down further and the sludge starts working up further, that layer of water gets thinner and thinner and thinner. Now you're on a washing machine and you send 50 gallons of water through that thing, it's bringing sludge and scum with it because of just the flow of water. Okay? That's why you want that to be a wide enough flow so it's liquid, all right? Now, as you use it, okay, it takes time for that to settle out. That's the reason why you have your 3 baffles, okay? So it has time to do that before it gets to the 3rd baffle. Now, my drawing, you know, these come down a bit lower than where I'm drawing, okay? But when it first falls here, and it churns everything up and floats in here, and at that time it has time to sink down and raise up. That's the reason why in a 3-bedroom house you have a 1,000 gallon septic tank. Okay, well in a 4-bedroom house you have a 1,500 gallon septic tank. Okay, if you have a ejector pump in a basement bathroom or for any reason, okay, usually you have to double your septic tank size. Why? Because it's filling up with 50, 60 gallons of water, then the pump's kicking on and sending 60 gallons of water through this thing. Doesn't have time to settle. So it's going to pass solids through. That's why it needs time to become liquid. So only liquid is going beyond it.
So it's bigger so that there's more time for it to do that before it goes out.
Correct. Okay, when you start getting any kind of sludge or sediment after your septic tank, that's when you have trouble, which we'll go over next. Okay, in your septic tank you have usually 3 lids. You have an incoming port, a large round lid to pump from, and an outgoing port. Now these are usually a wedge, like this here, okay? And where this drops in, a lot of times guys, and not as bad as it used to be, but guys used to leave this pipe out like that far, and it would get clogged up here all the time. You'd have to open the port up and clear it. What we used to do is take a long Sawzall blade and cut it back close. Okay, that should be pretty close to here. Okay, because that port right there is only about 12 inches wide. So you want room, because that's where all your solids are, let's face it. Okay, so that should be dug up. Whenever there's a stopped up sewer, it should be dug up and looked at. And a lot of times you can run the snake back through to the house then. Okay, when guys do that, they got to be careful. They have to see about how far they are, so they don't run into the house and break something. So, also a lot of times there is a clean out TIG right here. Okay, with a cap. Okay, so if that's the case, you know, you always get to that. All right, everything makes sense so far as the septic goes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me think if there's anything else. Usually when we do an inspection, which I'm not going to go into that in big detail, but we have to uncover all 3. Now we just did one over in Elmer. We had to replace the septic tank because the guy that put it in backwards. Now this is the lower port and this is the higher port. He put it in where this was the lower port and that was the higher port. So what I had to do was back up into the house in order to get up to this height to go out. Right? I mean, you see what the deal is though. He has it was a bi-level, he had a bathroom on the first floor. So it kind of always stayed full just under that toilet in order to be able to get out. So that's, you know, that's what Star, and then another inspection guy didn't catch that in his inspection. So then he ended up getting sued. And that's why we had to replace the septic. Okay, so just to give you an idea. Any questions about that?
Did his house stink with it like backed up that
No.
far?
What he was actually doing is he opened this lid up and he was pumping his septic. And he opened up his D-box and he was pumping it manually into the D-box.
Oh, Jesus.
Just to get by because it kept stopping up.
Wow.
And that's why we had to pressure wash his D-box. Because
With the
pumping
generator,
it,
is that
Oh,
what
that's
the
that?
generator, right, he just,
Yeah.
the solids going in there.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, but he's in good shape now.
Good.
So, you know.
Good.
Okay, so that's the solid side. Now we turn everything into a liquid. Now we have 3, most of it, I mean, there's different ways people do things, but 3 ways, okay, to get rid of your liquid. One, and the most normal one is a field net. Here's the pipe coming in, okay. This is a little box, okay, with a hole going in, and it has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever, as many ports that they need for the field net, okay, which an engineer designed it. This one shows 5 ports, it might be 7 ports, it might be 9 ports, where they have to run, you know, it might be a little bit bigger, and there's another 2 going out, okay, and what they are, you have a pipe going in, again, it's up high, and lower, you have pipes going out the side, going into a bed of stone. Pipe with holes in it, perforated pipe. Okay, and basically this is the field bed. Okay, sometimes you see in people's yard they have 4 pipes coming out of the ground. That's in the corner of the field bed. Okay, a lot of guys will cut them off, and when they plant grass, they don't want them sticking up. But a lot of times you see them sticking up. That's what they're doing. They're marking. Not only marking, but so they can monitor the 4 corners of the field bed. Because sometimes this one will flood out.
Are they like clean outs or like what? Like does it like the
Site
pipe?
ports, actually. Site ports, they call it. They're not connected to these pipes. They're just in the stone. And if the whole idea is that bed should be totally level. So if this one has water in it 6 inches down, that one should too, that one should too, and that one should too. If not, one side stopped up or is out of balance or whatever. So it should all be kind of level, okay? And all you're doing is overflowing the liquid, and it's going in here and seeping through these pipes. Now, if these pipes aren't level too, okay, then what happens, let's say if these two are lower than the rest of them, okay, then these two are gonna be used all the time. Okay, so at some point, they're gonna clog up before the rest of it does. Now the rest of the bed's not gonna be used unless you're getting too high to make it overflow to the others. You follow what I'm saying? I mean, it's gotta be a level situation in order for all of them to equally get used. All right. Again, there's a lid on this here, and when we do a septic inspection, we pull it up and we see if there's any solids in there or.
I saw a picture of what that looks like for real from that job they did the other day. And there's like
When
ink
they
in the
pressure
middle of
clean,
it, and
they
then you
showed
can
it.
see the holes coming out the side. Okay.
And that was a brand new field bed, but the guy missed the idea of the septic tank. So, you know, and he ended up getting, like I say, sued, and I don't know how much he gave him, but
Yikes.
So those pipes coming out of that field bed are just basically the white PVC pipes with just a bunch of holes in them.
with holes in it, it's actually bought like that perforated pipe. Okay, and again, it's just for liquid to seep in. Now, if they don't have that, they may have a seepage pit, which is a big round cement tank, usually cement, and it has holes all over it. And years ago, they didn't put stone around them, but when they put them in new, they put stone all around them. Okay, so once again, when the liquid goes in, it seeps out.
Oh, so it's just like that, but instead of
It's
a field, it's a little thing.
Exactly, and that's called a seepage pit. You know, and remember that because I'll tell you when we call something different.
Okay.
But let me go back to this field bed situation. I want to say about 15 years ago, somebody had a bright idea of using what they call infiltrators. It's pretty much a tunnel, okay? Looks just like this. This is the ground level right here. And what they did is they grade the ground, set these infiltrators in, maybe 20 feet of them, and then, you know, just, they might have 5, 6, 7, 8 sections of them, okay? And they would go into the D-box just like this, okay? And they cover them with dirt, and basically the water would go into there and seep out the holes here, or seep out the bottom, one or the other, okay? Sounded like a really good idea when they first did it, and now they're already ripping them out because they ain't worth the shit. So
And
yeah.
stop doing it what they as intended?
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
it's not, you know.
But not draining enough.
So they wouldn't put that in new anymore. Like if someone had it, it's
No,
because it's
no.
older and.
Yeah, I haven't seen, nobody around here does them. I don't even know if they're legal in Jersey anymore.
Okay.
Now they used to do them also under a parking area for drainage, where they would actually do the whole parking area with it, fill it with dirt and pave it, okay, and drain into that, use the underneath the parking area. And that didn't work too bad because it was clean water.
Right.
But again, you know, what would happen is the ground was your main source, okay? I mean, here's your tunnel, okay? And here's your ground. The ground was the main source of the water filtering through. And once it got matted, you know, now it's clogged up, so now it's starting to raise up.
Oh, because there's no stones under there for it to like go through, so it just kind of got saturated and then there's
Right,
nothing
or get a
else.
layer of
Yuck.
just, you know, yeah,
Scum.
scum, right, whatever. So, but they are not good. Now, the other thing, I mean, again, we ran into this, where instead of a D-box, and I know a guy had infiltrators, but he had a pipe with T's off it going to his infiltrators. But it was no D-box, this is the line going into it. Okay, so it wasn't like you could even monitor to see if it was working or not, because it was all piped in solid. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, like there was no peekaboo.
Right. Here you could open it up like you've seen that
Yeah,
picture.
yeah, you can
And
see
you
it.
can see some ports aren't being used at all. You can see that it's not, the water's not taking it. Okay, the others you can see they are taking it good. You know, so it's one of them things that you could monitor it and see what's going on. We've pressure washed these already, where we send the jetter through, and the jetter sends all the stuff back to us, and then we have a guy pumping as we're jetting it. So to get rid of the sludge and whatever's in there. And that does help a lot of times. I mean, I wonder, remember that guy in Palatine? It was the way we scheduled it.
We jetted it.
Way off, the guy
Yes,
bought the house
yes,
and,
yes.
okay.
Oh,
Well, I don't know how he made out with it, but we
It
haven't
was
heard back
Bert
from
and
him.
Carmela here, and I forget the new guy,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
new owners. But yeah,
So, but it kind of gives you an idea of, when you're on the phone, you know the terminology, I hope, and, you know a little bit.
that's
Now,
a big help.
Yeah.
one big thing is that's the seepage pit, okay? If that's over here, liver holes in it, and here's the house. Okay, that's called a cesspool.
Wait.
There's no,
So they bypass the septic
And you
tank.
never put a septic in.
So they just have something called a cesspool.
Yes.
So
Years ago,
Great.
what's that?
That's illegal now?
Yes.
Okay.
Years ago was done all the time.
that thing's
We
gonna
have
get
a
full
cesspool out
quickly,
here.
right? Oh, that right in the front?
Right in the front, that's a cesspool. But again, because of the usage, we get away with it, okay? We never put a field in. Now, if you, it used to be where if you had a cesspool, if you had room and you put a septic here, then it was legal, because now it's a seepage pit. Okay? But now these counties are paying the ass.
So like if you were gonna buy a house and it's like that with just a cesspool, will they be like, no, you can't have
They
this.
wouldn't
You have to like revamp all of it in order for it to be like
Correct.
Yeah.
inhabitable, whatever.
Now, my house, I have this. Mom's had this, because it's one bedroom
right,
apartment, you know what I'm saying?
right.
My house, I have this, and I also have another one coming off of here, and actually, I think I have three seepage pits.
No field bed.
No field bed.
Okay.
I mean, I like having that, because that, more capacity, I could service it, I could pump it, you know what I'm saying? Years ago, that's all it was, but it's not.
How many gallons are they usually?
You could get, they usually come in 8 wide by 6 foot. And they're open on both ends. So you just stack them up as you need them.
Oh.
Okay, I think I have 12 footers out there.
Wow.
So it's a lot. My house, Carmel, 520 Irving, 2-family house. I've got a septic and seepage pit. And it's great. I have no problems out with it at all. Because you're going deeper, so you have an awful lot of ground contact, you know what I'm saying? And as your water gets built up in here, it also has pressure pushing down to get rid of that water. So, but again, it's not legal anymore.
But you still
You
have
can't
to
put it
pump
in.
that every so often because it still gets solids like a regular septic tank would. Or yeah,
This unit, yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, yes,
Yes.
that with no septic before it.
Correct.
That's still like every 2 to 3 years, depending on usage.
Depending on the people, how many people in the house, and you know the size of the house, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
All right, make sense?
All good.
I mean, gives you a little bit more of an idea when somebody calls you on the phone,
That's awesome, yeah.
where
Yeah.
you know.
'Cause I was lost.
Well, no,
Before today.
when
Big help.
you see it more,
No, exactly.
you know, when you actually gets told to you and you see pictures, it kind of makes you know a little bit more about it. And I might as well go over one other thing, what they do nowadays, and we just did one that we got in trouble for.
Randolph?
Yeah. This year baffle was deteriorating, okay? So they said the health department sent them a letter saying they should have a new baffle put in their septic. So we went ahead and we chopped this out a little bit larger, and we came in here and they have what they call a filter now. Like this here, and this has all holes in it, and you have a T that comes up like this here, and actually connects to the filter. Okay, so now solids cannot get out of the septic. Okay, even if you don't pump it, it's gonna clog up. That screen's not gonna let solids get out. So really, it's a good idea. And what you do is you take the little wedge,